Okay, we have Cathrine Hatcher here, and she's going to be talking to Reed Rogers, and I'm going to let her talk to him. So here we go.
Hi, Reed. Well, before I get started, I wanted to talk about why I brought Reed in. And as I think about image, and I work with people about how to communicate more effectively with their image. So I'm an image communications expert, and I look at image is more than just your outward appearance. It's more than what we see. And I have my 3 A's of image, which are appearance, attitude, and ACE, ACE, which stands for the ability to communicate effectively. Now, we're more than just what we see in our appearance. Appearance is the biggest part of the formula, but when you look at attitude, that plays out in so many parts of our image. Attitude can be played out in the tone of voice we use when we talk to people, and the conversations that we've had before this with Carol Ann and Nadia really play into what we're going to talk about with Reed. And so when you look at image and attitude, you're going to, if you have a lousy attitude, it's going to play out in your tone of voice. It's also going to play out in things like your body language. You know, you're going to slouch more. You're not going to have the great expressions. And then what happens over time is that we develop really bad habits. And when we develop those bad habits, we could actually be feeling quite well in one day, but our expressions are displaying something totally different. So part of what I do when I talk about image communications is how can we retrain ourselves to create good habits. So I thought Reed would be a good asset to the show to talk about retraining ourselves. And I'm going to read his bio to you because I can't memorize all this. He is a professional speaker and a master hypnotist of 13 years. He trained under one of the world's top hypnotist, and maybe I'll get that out right. Reed has hypnotized over 6,000 people, to include large groups of 500 people or more at the same time. He has trained major insurance companies, practically every major real estate agency, and various other corporations in the art of hypnotic selling. As a former tennis pro, he has also obtained certification as a sports hypnotist, where he helps his clients perform to their maximum capacity. Now, I have Reed here today to teach us how to utilize hypnosis to make great changes in our own lives and to create a better attitude, which will give us more opportunities in our business, social, and personal lives. He is the only speaker that I know that you will find who really doesn't mind if his audience members actually go to sleep. Now, be careful, though, as some of Reed's audience members have been known to speak like Mickey Mouse when they wake up. So watch out, everyone. Hello, Reed. Thank you for being my guest today.
Hello. Thank you.
Now, you know, when you talk about hypnosis, some people get kind of scared of it. Some people are afraid that it's a form of mind control. What would you say to that?
Well, I have a lot of fun with that one, and that is the biggest fear that people have. But actually, I like to tell audiences if I could do mind control, probably wouldn't be there with that audience. I would just go find Bill Gates or Ross Perot and ask for one check. And then I'd be sad. But also, you can never be made to do anything that you normally perceive to be immoral or unethical. If I got someone under a deep hypnosis level, they'll come right out of it, or they'll just freeze right where they are.
Okay. So can anyone be hypnotized?
Absolutely. Actually, everybody gets hypnotized or enters a hypnotic state at least twice a day.
Really?
Just before you go to sleep at night. You're not quite awake, not quite asleep. And when you first wake up in the morning, it's when I tell people, it's very non-morning people, reach over for the snooze alarm and like, oh God, that snooze. During those times, if you talk to yourself or tell yourself what most people know to be affirmations, that's self-hypnosis, and it starts to go in.
Well, how can we use hypnosis then to help ourselves?
Well, there's a lot of ways that you can do that. I like to teach people how to do self-hypnosis, which we'll demonstrate here today toward the end of the segment.
Great.
Most of the things I like to do they take small steps. And I can give you an example if you want. So
okay, all right.
You participate out in the rest of the world there if you want, or if you want to participate here in the audience.
Everybody has to participate, all right?
Yeah, we'll
all
take
right,
the thing.
everybody.
If you want.
Come on, let's do it.
Okay.
Come on. Yes, let's do it.
Everybody just stretch your arms out straight to your side.
Like this?
Yeah, just straight
right.
outside too.
Right.
And then bring them back in. Put your hands on your chest, ladies above your chest. Okay. And then just stretch your elbows up in the air. And then stretch them back down. And stretch them back up again. Stretch them down and say quack. Quack. Okay. And quack. All right. You put your hands down. Yeah, the reason people do that is because small steps lead to larger steps, and you can actually start to do that for yourself. Get yourself to do small steps.
So because you were telling everyone one thing at a time. If you had said everybody cluck like a duck, we would not have done it.
Yeah, most people wouldn't have done
Right,
it. So,
but
because of the small steps. And you can actually do that for yourself as well. I got myself into the gym regularly last year just by saying, I'm just going to go for 15 minutes. I've never gone to the gym for just 15 minutes. Once you're there, I stay an hour and a half. But by getting yourself to do that small step in the first one, then the rest of them start to get easier.
Okay. Well, so how do we become good at it then?
Oh, it's one of my favorite things. You know, anything you do frequently, you do more easily. So there's ways that I'll teach you today how to practice self-hypnosis or taking those first steps, just doing it frequently. And anything you do over and over again repeatedly, it starts to become very easy.
Okay. So what is the one thing that any of us can do to become more persuasive and to be more in demand by others?
I have this thing called a fine line statement. There's a fine line between confidence and cockiness. They're really the same emotion, except one you're very boisterous about, you're very visible about it. But it's really the same emotion. It's about confidence. So imagine if you are anything that you're given, that you at that point become the expert. You feel so confident about that. You don't brag about it or anything else. You just do it. Everybody loves a very confident person. And so you start to draw people around to you. When I'm giving speeches sometimes around groups, I have people who will come up to me afterwards because they automatically perceive you to be a leader. And they want to be a part of what you're doing or what you have and what you can do for them. So confidence.
So, and that's one of the things that really creates a really great image is when you walk in the room with confidence, your shoulders are up, you have a good expression on your face. Is there a process that we're thinking about when we do that, when we walk into that room, or is it just, what if I don't have a special skill for that particular audience?
Yeah, I have a lot of fun with this one. I had, as you said earlier, I'm an ex-tennis pro. I used to get really nervous. I would choke at the strangest times with people that I should clobber on the court. And then what happened was one day I started realizing that if I just believe I'm the world's greatest tennis player and I start to act that out, you start to live out what you're actually believing. And so that's how you start to develop that, become the world's greatest.
So you told me a story not too long ago about how you used hypnosis to help your children. Would you tell the audience about that story?
Yes, I have a 16-year-old and a 14-year-old. Both of them have a 4.0 GPA or higher. My son's a little bit higher than that. If you will walk in and just start talking to them in their sleep, I suggest you don't yell or scream because that has a tendency to have the opposite effect.
Right.
But just speaking very softly and legibly where they can understand what you're saying, then you can talk to them and give them suggestions. There's a lot about hypnotic language of always telling people what to do or to think or what to say. Always avoid saying the what not to do. The subconscious doesn't know that word. So by talking to them in their sleep, I get them to do things.
What did you say to them?
I have the same thing I've told them for several years now. I would say, you love school. You love math, science, English, and history. And whatever their weakest subject is, that's what I'll actually cater to and help them out on. So I'll start giving them positive reinforcement about that while they're sleeping. And my daughter's a good example of that. She used to have a lot of difficulty waking up. You could go in 4, 5, 6, 7 times and wake her up and then come back and she's back asleep again. And you think she's awake. So I started getting her while she was sleeping. I'll say in the morning when I count from 1 to 3 and snap my fingers, you'll open your eyes, you'll be wide awake, you'll stand up, you'll go get dressed, and you'll be excited about going to school. And it took about 3 days of doing that, and all I had to do from that point on was just snap my fingers. She'd stand up and go get in the closet and start getting dressed.
I'm thinking that would work for Kathy's spouse here.
I get that request.